Hi everyone. I was hoping to be at the beach this morning to create this video, to have a beautiful background behind me while I talk about some heavy things, but I hope you'll stay through to the end. The topic is staying on top of the waves through these times, and these symbolize, that's the best I can do with my New Mexico design. To stay on top of those waves. Archangel Michael, through the years, I'll hear these words where he reminds me of past messages he gave that are just so perfect for that time. And in recent months, I keep hearing this about, that we're being dishonored, which we have been. Humans have always been dishonored basically through time, as soon as greed set in, and power and control and all these things. But it's off the charts right now. It's just insane what's going on. But Archangel Michael gave me this message on April 11th, 2017, which was a really profound year for me, in great and not so great ways, personally, professionally. And, that's the year later, that year that Archangel Michael sent me to Alberta, Canada, where he gave me the sword mission, and we began the spiritual army. So here's the message. I wrote it down. I hope I can read my own writing. So many of the problems of the world come down to the act of dishonor. Dishonoring of the human, all living things, including the earth itself. How can you shift this? Demand to be honored. If a company is making a food or product that does not honor your health, you can choose to move on from it and no longer give it your energy or money. You can break the habit of purchasing it. If a business is not treating you respectfully, perhaps find one that is rooted in servicing its customers in a more humane way, which will help those types of businesses to succeed and reach more. If a person is not honoring you, maybe it is time to concentrate on those that do. Do you see that when you do this on an individual level, it has positive ramifications that will affect the collective, powerful creators? So this was in 2017, a few years before the absolute insanity of 2020, right? Archangel Michael always gives heads up, even decades before things happen. And this was a heads up because we were so dishonored in 2020, beyond belief, like the greatest crimes against humanity. And, and that's the last video I made. I was just sharing this little bit about reminding us what we went through, because it's here again. It's starting, it's crazy what's going on. And a lot of people are falling for it, but there's plenty who are saying, nope, not again. So we're in some really interesting times, very challenging times, and yet never before felt such support from the heavens. And I'll get to that later, so please stay tuned, okay? So Archangel Michael brings up food. Our food is being poisoned beyond imagination. It always has been. And let me just say, I honestly feel, and I've said this for many years, like, I can't believe we're all still alive, just like with the food, the water, the land, our soil, the EMFs, the cell phone, the radiation, all of it. Like, how are we still here? I used to think that all the time, but now it's like unbelievable. How are we surviving this, Like there has to be some level of divine intervention, you know, and in my opinion, the closer we stay with God, you know, the better off we are. No question in my mind. This is all pushing us to walk with God, work with God, bring God into everything, you know, pray over everything, including our food and water. And so the latest that we're hearing, there's just so much to, I mean, I could create so many videos on this. I research this stuff every day and experience a lot. But, you know, there's this, the coatings on produce, on our fruits and vegetables that we need for healthy bodies. They've had coatings for a long time, like wax coatings and things that probably weren't very good for us, but now they're putting this, and there's so many names for it, even on organic, you know. So we have to be aware of it, and be aware of, before I forget, when you're eating, to pay attention to how you feel. Like I've eaten apples all my life. I never had a stomach ache from an apple, okay? But I went to a store. It's kind of a big box natural food store. And I just felt not to buy any produce, but I happened to see these apples in this beautiful biodegradable package, you know? And I thought, oh, I'll just try this. Well, I ended up getting a stomach ache from an apple. I did not feel well. And not only that, but I had kept it for a month because I was going to return it, but it's an hour away. And I did call the store right away. But that apple did not biodegrade. The packaging does, but the apple didn't, like barely. It was pretty white, pretty much all white. And I kept that apple and I took pictures. And so anyways, what we need to do is, you know, stop purchasing from these companies. I, you know, was writing the company, and as I'm writing them, I felt to check something, and there was a post about someone else with the same brand of apples, which I've never tried before. I was just so impressed with their packaging, no plastic, you know, and they're organic, you know. I mean, that doesn't mean as much these days, let me tell you. They're targeting all of us, but those of us that have been choosing healthier options and paying the extra money, just be really careful. Again, bring God into everything. You know, I pray over all my food and water now, you know, whereas I didn't, to be honest, for many years. And anyway, so I called the company, or wrote the company, and, you know, they had some slick response that, you know, where they can't really take responsibility. And I called the store, and the guy was really clueless. But I kept going back to the company and writing and, you know, responding, and they would write me back. But then they just stopped, you know, because, you know, I would very kindly, though, you know, and just say, look, I know this is your job, but like, you have to be aware of what's in this for your sake, your children's sake, you know. Like, we all have to be aware, you know, and just keep working at it, because if we're all, you know, to me, silence is consent. If we're silent on this stuff, you know, it's consenting to it, in my view. So we speak up. That's how change happens. That's how it's happening now, you know. So so that's just one experience, but like I have noticed, like I have a wonderful natural, I'm just giving my experiences. I have a wonderful natural food store that I go to, and you know, but of course there's just so much stuff that you have to completely avoid, but it's my best choice other than local farms. All the produce that I eat now is pretty much locally sourced. And organic. I've bought organic for, gosh, since 1999, 2000, the year 2000. and increasingly so where all I purchase is organic, you know. So I'm really, really picky, and I've been picky for a long time. Um, and yet, like, I can't even buy a banana now because the natural food store is selling this company's bananas, and they're partnered with the coating business. So I I won't buy it. I'm not going to support, and I recommend to the store, like, let's not support this company because the bananas are next. They're doing these now. And I mean, I did have also had an avocado, which was like really rubbery. So what I suggest is if your fruit's not tasting normal, or and not just the taste, but the texture, or it's rotting from the inside, which is very common with these darned coatings, take it back. Take it back. If we all take it back, this will stop, right? I mean, we have to do everything we can while being in connection. So, oh, and then I was just at a Publix, which I, buy one or two things, okay? And I went by the bananas, and I was shocked by the sticker that's on their organic bananas. If you know the symbology of that character, this company, movie making, TV, they put out just such dark symbolism. Sorry. I know it's hard, especially with kids, the things that they're being, exposed to. But if we're aware, we can stray from these companies and these products. We need pure entertainment for our children, especially, and not, unknowingly subjecting them to this energy of darkness. So we have to make choices, make new choices, and our intuition is so important. As I say, I believe it's more important than common sense because nothing's common now. Everything is, we're in a different kind of world right now, temporarily. Temporarily, we're still heading into that new earth. We have to go through this. But my intuition was telling me for some time to like eat pumpkin seeds, like a little every day, and I just naturally did that. I trusted it. And then come to find, if you haven't heard, and please, I don't want to put a lot of links, but like you can write me through my website, and I'm happy to share information if this is new to you. But the whole sea disease industry that makes billions, I think the sea disease, common, right? They've hidden so much truth, as we know. I mean, there are cures. There are so many things that can prevent it. And not only that, they've hidden, apparently, what is the true cause, okay? And this is a theory, but it's a theory I trust. It resonates with me. Not being a scientist, not being a doctor, I just feel it. I feel it, and I trust where that information's coming from. Plus, in general, these aren't good for you, So doing those cleanses, and not just like I first just did it once and I thought I was good. No, have to maintain. It's so important to keep those out of our bodies, and also I learned that that pumpkin seeds are anti-parasitic. So it's like, wow, okay, so trust your gut when it's telling you, to um, eat certain things or avoid certain things, or you go to a store and follow and listen to synchronicity. I mean, this has happened many times. I'm in a natural food store. I'm going to go get something, and then someone blocks my way, and I get it. Like, okay, for some reason, and then I would come to find out, yeah, that don't trust that product. It's amazing. Like, it's amazing how this all works. But synchronicity is definitely a huge messenger to help us through these times. So just that little bit on the produce, but also they're culling cows and chickens and all kinds of livestock all over, especially in this country. I hope you know about it. All under the guise of this fake scam again. They're creating this, everyone. I hope everyone knows this. They're creating it. Don't fall for it. And these fake tests, they're testing with that same test that they used on us, that it's proven that didn't work. They admitted it didn't work, and they were supposed to be recalled, and yet they're still using it for the C virus, and now for the and they're using that as justification to call our livestock. This just today or yesterday, I heard about this in Colorado. So that what's next? They're going to test with a P test, like every bird out in nature. Like, I mean, and then this animal and that kind of animal. Like, it's so ridiculous. If you listen to scientists that aren't paid off, true warriors, true truther warriors, they're going to tell you, like, this makes no sense. Again, please write me if you want some more information. I'm happy to share it with you. So as I've said before, we must stock up, stock up, stock up, stock up. We have no choice now. I mean, it's so clear what they're doing. They're bringing down our food supply, either in numbers and or in poison. They're poison. So there's still plenty of good food out there, and we're when you look at it from a higher perspective, the good part of this is it's making us go back to the way it used to be with farms, grow your own, simple, whole foods, not all this preservative stuff. I mean, I follow these groups where they're, all about the coding. So that I was talking about, like, awareness of that, the bioengineered. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on about that. But basically, I'll get to that in a second, but basically all these things, and yet people keep posting, is this safe? And it's this like heavily processed food that has all kinds of crap in it, aside from the coatings or the bioengineered. It's just crap. And it's like, we have to get away from the processed foods. It's like constantly in our face, that to face this, get away from it. We need to go to simpler food. We can still make food tasty with spices and herbs and all that, but it just like all this processed stuff is not good, and they're putting all kinds of stuff that, you know, the seed oils. Oh, I mean, hopefully you know about all this stuff, but if we go, you know, local and Whole Foods, and, you know, we'll be okay. No matter what, we will. I feel like whatever life, this is what I always say, we do the best we can, the very best we can. It's never going to be perfect in this crazy world, but then we call in God through, walk with God through it, ask for toxins be removed every time, you know. And honestly, I once I do the best I can, I have no fear. Like and I enjoy the food. Like, I don't worry about it. But if I feel something, and I'm glad to feel it because I want to know, then I'm not going to eat that food. I'll take it back to make a statement. And we have to educate each other, you know, like, it's for everyone's sake. We have to be aware and spread the word. And what I wanted to say about the bioengineered, that's another name for this. They do that all the time, right? They change the names, or they make it sweet sounding, so you think it's something good for you. And you find out it's really not good for you. And like at the Publix here, I was like aghast when one day I just thought, I'm going to check all the items in the fresh bakery. And on the label, it says contains bioengineered ingredients. If you go to look at, you know, things like mayonnaise or any processed food in the whole center part, look for contains bioengineered ingredients, especially those big name companies. Just avoid at all costs, please. I mean, you may know this, but even if this reaches a few people that didn't know, gosh, please know it, and let your loved ones know, you know, let people you care about know, or, you know, make a video like this, you know, to spread the word. Water, we have to be, God, it's so important to have clean water. And you know, I've always had filter water as long as I can remember, but since I returned to Florida, I've been increasingly uncomfortable with the water. And right away, before I even got a home, I ordered a distiller, and, you know, that's just one option. There's a lot of really good options out there. But I'm really happy with it so far. And, you know, just take minerals also. And, you know, so, and again, pray over our water. And the hardest topic to talk about is regarding our children. And I can't believe what's going on with our children, like what they're being exposed to, and we have to be aware for their sakes. Honestly, like, I do not have fun talking about this stuff at all, but I feel we have to warn each other. These things that we got as children, I mean, if you're my age, and now look at this chart. Unbelievable. How do you explain this? And if you follow and study this, you know that this is not some benevolent thing. So on the contrary. But I'm going to zoom in on this snapshot to show you the most shocking thing that every pregnant mother needs to know. Interesting, 6 of them. While pregnant? Are you kidding me? I just can't believe it. And, 6 is their number. So disgusting. If you have children and think back to when you were pregnant with them, we had, we're so happy to follow all the rules, don't drink coffee, don't drink alcohol for sure. And oh my gosh, if you're a smoker, no smoking, and all these things. And we were so glad to do that. We want the healthiest children possible. And now look, this is what they're recommending. I mean, we gotta stop listening to these evil monsters. I'm sorry. This is outrageous. This is so dangerous. And really bad things are happening when people get blindsided and gaslighted that this is the thing you need to do for your baby, your fetus, that fetus in you. And then once your baby's born, right away, let's stick them. Are you kidding me? I wish I knew all these things a long time ago. I can't even tell you. It's so outrageous, and every parent and grandparent needs to know this. As I said from the beginning, all these things, this, don't think this is good for you. Please, please, please. And, people are still taking them. And now with the latest scare, of course, they have answers for that. And all the things that are being caused by them, they have new. Yeah, even from frontline doctors. It just makes me so extremely upset what they're doing. All you have to do is research the true news, and you'll find out, for instance, that 5 states are suing the big company, starts with PF, that administers, because of what they knew, and they were hiding it. 5 lawsuits. Everything's coming out now. The trails in the sky. I mean, there's no denying it. Even on the mainstream news, they're admitting it. There's no denying it anymore. There's so much. How many videos I've seen? I've been studying this for 24 years. Yeah, 24 years. How many videos I've seen where it's like the chemicals are coming right out of a spigot, and how many people are testing the soil and those certain things that are being sprayed are in the soil. So how can we can't deny it. We just can't, But again, I feel like, again, how can we all still be here? There has to be divine intervention. There just has to be. I mean, how can we get through all this, right? So I don't, it's very extremely upsetting, but also my faith is so strong. Just as long as you're aware and connect to God and walk through it with God, you'll be okay. I honestly, I cannot tell you. I mean, when I had that stomach ache from the apple and I prayed on it, it went away. I needed to experience it because it just sent me into another trajectory of things to focus on, to share, to raise the sword on, okay? So I bless it, even though it wasn't fun, On a side note, please pay in cash wherever you can. Oh my gosh. Again, to change things, we have to make a statement. What if we just all started paying cash because they so badly want to make us go digital? And once they do that, you think we're controlled and manipulated and tracked? Now is going to be so bad. Pay cash. If a store doesn't allow cash, I'll say, I love this store, but you lost my business. I mean, we have to be gutsy. We have to be courageous. We have to even stop going to our favorite store if it gets like when I was in New Mexico. I told you I didn't do this. I didn't do this. But I had to wear something because I hated the mask, but I got face shields. Okay, so I could still breathe. There's 150 plus peer-reviewed studies that say that this doesn't work and worse. Okay, so I would go, wearing my face shield, and pretty much I was okay. But like I remember going into one of my favorite stores, a Co-op there, and I was flanked by 3 people at once, like I was some criminal. Like, are you kidding me? And one is holding a thing of mass, and she's like using her hand to get like if it's so, like if we're all contagious, like you're touching it, right? I mean, it was so ridiculous. And I said, I love this store so much, but I'm not coming back, And then I told them my side of the story, The same thing happened, a different story. It must be something where they tell you get 3 people and flank them at once, freak the crap out of them so they'll wear the mask, and I'm not going to wear it, But I had to wear something because in New Mexico, I mean, I never once saw someone get away with wearing nothing in a store and you wouldn't be able to get food. Other states it was different, but not there. So, and I do love New Mexico, but man, it was a hard place to be during those times. But anyways, back to paying in cash as much as we can to save cash and to say no to digital. And that includes those QR codes. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's out there that they track and get information, and they can steal information. It's not a safe thing to do. I highly recommend you not use them. Even if you get, I was at a store and I got just a thing of lettuce, and he said, oh, you'll save $2 if you scan this code, and he had it there. I'm like, no, I'll pay the $2. And he asked me why, and I was so glad, because it's like, I'll tell you why. And he said, yeah, it kind of makes sense, So it's like the more we can share, especially when people are open to it, want to understand why you feel a certain way, it's pretty awesome, It's like, I don't know, I don't think we can stay quiet. Against silence is consent. When I was in Arkansas, I created that video that I filmed at that Civil War battleground. And the 2 main messages were regarding, basically about transmuting the darkness of the world, but I was specifically in a Civil War, on a Civil War battleground, literally transmuting the darkness of that into light. And then also the whole theme of genocide. I shared my personal history, ancestral, generational history of the genocide of the Armenians, But frankly, they're wanting to start very badly war, but civil war, with all the open borders and bringing in all these illegals. It's just unbelievable. So many people either don't know or don't even care, and they don't realize what can be ahead for us if we don't do something. And also, the whole genocide thing. It's like, that's why I was there. Like, I didn't even really think about it to this degree until I had time to absorb it all. And looking at where, like, we're gonna, honestly, my faith is so relentless. We'll be okay, but we must be connecting to God and the heavens, the highest of the high. And, you know, I've had so many attacks on my work. It's been, I mean, just a little name, you know, just, I mean, it's unbelievable what the things that have been going on, such as, and it started back like, well, my books have been under attack. I won't even get into that. 2 of my books. I Can See Clearly Now and Michael's Sword in You. Oh my gosh. But I won't get into that right now. But I you know, when I was in Hawaii and I was in that creepy living situation I shared where there was a whole lot of darkness that needed to be transmuted. Oh my goodness. One day I was, you know, 3 times a week I send an email announcement to all the warriors. I've been doing that for 6 years. I never missed it once, not once, unless I was traveling and I said on these 3 next sword raising nights or days, we're going to cover this, you know. So only if traveling or whatever. But otherwise, I've never missed one, okay? In over 6 years now. And all of a sudden, my email was sent to the warriors, okay, well over 100. And I then sent a test email and I said, this is a test. Did you get it? And I get all these responses, yes, okay. So I tried it again, didn't work, and then I ended up having to use a whole different, I started with a whole new account with Proton Mail, and I've been using that since. And I transferred, I wasn't going to let the darkness stop me. I knew it was an attack, and I transferred every email manually into Proton Mail and then sent it in time. Okay, so it's like I never let the darkness win. I fight it. I mean, I can only take care of myself and what I do, and I fight it with everything. I refuse, right? Okay, so here we are years later, and when I was in Arkansas, I was sending, you know, just like always, all kinds of links, you know, for sharing my research and findings. And some links either wouldn't send or my emails were all messed with. Like I proofread them, I work hard on those, and then like they're messed with, and they're not what I sent, okay? That was going on at times, but it was not like real serious. I was still able to send something, right? But when I was here, I don't know, how long ago was that, a month or 2? Probably closer to 2 months ago. I can't remember, I'm sorry. It's been so much. But I sent the email and it wouldn't send, or people would get an email from me, warriors, and there was nothing, like it was nothing where I sent this whole long thing I spent a lot of time on. And not only that, but my whole account was corrupted. Thousands of emails were corrupted. So I couldn't go back and look at anything. For my friends use Proton Mail, and it's supposed to be much safer and less prone to attacks. But I wrote Proton Mail, never heard back either. So I'm like, okay, so again, it wasn't going to stop me. I'm going to get that email out. And Archangel Michael says, yes, do what you're doing. You know, just remember as best as you can what you put in there. You know, find the links as best you can, whatever. So I did, and I sent it, and it got out in time, okay? The moment, just to show you like how supported we are. And by the way, I was like extremely calm, like through the whole thing. I'm getting this out there, right? even though not just inbox, but sent, my draft folder. So I didn't even have a record of what like the uniform part of the email that I sent, that's the same every time. I didn't even have that. It's all gone. So but I got it out. And the second I got it out, Archangel Michael said, very good. Now, go seek joy. That's what he said. Go seek joy, like celebrate. Okay. Right then, these, birds, as I said before, as you may well know, are really amazing messengers. And right when he said, go seek joy, and I look out my window and two titmouses. I know it's a funny name for a bird. I love those birds. They're so, like, they have so much character. They're so fast. And I don't know, with that cute little tuft of feathers on their head, those little tufts, they're just adorable. And I haven't seen them since, pretty much since Sedona, I think. I don't know. But they're just so cute. Anyways, they land on my hummingbird feeder, okay? And then one of them goes up to the window and taps it. Tap, 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 tap. Are you kidding me? Right then. Then it flies around to my sliding door window, Tap, 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 tap. Oh my gosh, like I was so full of joy. It's like I know Michael sent those to me. And here, this happened again, not nearly as dramatic with the tapping, but two birds came to my window. I think it was a week or two later. Here's the video. Also, my emails, my regular email, by the way, that was attacked at the same time. I couldn't send emails. And now everything's working, okay? But things have happened. I mean, I was giving a talk recently, and I was going through my notes on a document. They're on a document, Word document, and I spent all this time going through and adding a lot of new information, okay? And it didn't save. All my business documents that I checked, it wouldn't save. Things like that. What was the latest thing? Oh, I I have to be honest, I'm not a very good housekeeper on my computer. I'm just not, I just lazy about it. I can't keep up. I just have too much stuff on it. So something I continually work on. But one thing I do is my trash bin, when I put stuff in trash, and then I'll check it and then I delete it forever kind of thing. I do that really often, so I never have much in trash, okay? Because that takes up space on the computer too. But recently, Archangel Michael whispered, look at trash. And I'm like, really? So I open it and I'm shocked. I thought there'd be 3 to 5 items in there. There's 2,000 plus items in trash, and they're really important photos and documents and all kinds of things, screenshots. And they go way back. Like, what on earth, right? I mean, there's no logical reason for this. And, so thank God for his heads up. Again, see, we're so watched over. We're so protected. And, and that's why I share the story about the birds he sent me right when he said seek joy. It's like we're so watched over. It's like it just gives you such peace and comfort and faith and trust to keep marching through these times. It'll be okay. All this stuff can't last. And again, like, things are happening that are horrible, but they're also setting us up for the new earth where we won't be eating all this processed food, for example, just an example. It's like we're kind of being cleaned out and renewed, you know, and it's through a horrible, but it, you know, how are we going to wake up as a collective, right? I mean, when you really think about it, this woke us up, hopefully. Oh, and when I was creating videos for you guys, not the last video, but the one before it, Archangel Michael said to make a file now, and I was in the midst of editing it, okay? I never make a file prematurely until, you know, until I'm done, you know, but he said make it now. So I trusted it. And right after that, I made the file. My iMovie, the application I create these videos from, froze. I never ever got that video back. So if I didn't make that file, I would, all that time and effort would have been for nothing. Thank you, Archangel Michael. But then the last video I made that you can see on YouTube, it's still up. I was editing it. And oh, by the way, you guys, so I know from some of you, and I really appreciate you telling me, because I feel it too. When I use words on the screen and it goes to that expanding typeface and it moves, it's hard to read. I get it. I get it. The reason I use it, the expand, that movement kind of helps with flow for the video, but especially because I don't like the fonts that they use for the other options. Anyways, but on this last one, I was editing to put in the words. Oh, by the way, the reason I use so many words is because everything I'm speaking is transcribed, okay, for the via YouTube, okay. But when I put words, that it's not transcribed, right? They're words that you have to read. So I prefer that, and also using code so that you can figure out what words I'm trying to say, so I can stay on YouTube. So anyways, so on that last video, I was redoing that. I was fixing them, okay, because I remembered I need to change those. All of a sudden, my computer went black. It wasn't a power outage, okay? It was weird. And then I started up the computer, and it was the creepiest thing. I had put this image that I used in that last video, that I was guided to really share, to make a point that our music, there's so much darkness behind music these days, and especially with symbols, and this is the symbol, okay? That symbol I had put into trash. Once I put it into the film, per se, and it was in all set for the video, I took it from my desktop and put it into trash. 100% sure of it. I remember doing it because I just don't want that energy on my, I don't even like that. I don't like it on my video, but I have to give these messages, right? But I don't want it on my computer, okay? I put it in trash. I deleted it, okay? Now, when I turned my computer back on, it comes on, but with a black screen with one thing. You want to talk creepy? It was this actual screenshot. That's all that showed on a black screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, talk about dark influence. The darkness can do supernatural crap. I mean, how do they do it? I don't know, but it happened, and so I prayed on it, and then unbelievably so, everything was fine. Everything came up. I deep sixed that that screenshot, and I was able to create that video, or publish the video. I didn't you didn't hear about it because I was done filming for it. So I'm telling you now, that's what happened with the last video. So I'm not even remembering everything, but so many dark attacks, like, but it'll never stop me. Like, it'll never bring me down. Like, yeah, it's frustrating at the time, upsetting, sure. But it's because of keeping of that connection that, like, I'm always okay. I just always feel okay. And trusting that you, me, will be okay. Faith is everything. Faith is everything. We got to stay on top of the waves. We'll be okay through this. I wish I didn't have to talk about these things, but I can't not. I am actually a very positive, joyful person. I love talking about synchronicity and the magic of the universe and God and Christ and Archangel Michael and the Marys. I love sharing these things, but like, we have to be real. And especially during these times, we've got like really, tough things to face, but there's also amazing things happening, like regarding these things, the courts are going to be like overwhelmed because truths are coming out. Several states are banning the trails, like there's so many really amazing things happening too. But we have to know about the tough stuff so that we can avoid it and walk with God through this. Keep the faith, keep the trust, keep the love, 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 love. Hold on to unconditional love above all else. Love will see us through. Even when you're upset with someone, I've talked about this before, people aren't the same. Their influence, whatever, don't lose the faith. Hold on to the love. Keep the love in your heart. It's so powerful. It is the way through. Love is the way. Love is everything. Okay, I have to interrupt my own video because you have to see this, because like, my message is that no matter how hard things are now, like, the heavens are just blessing us. Today is a 7-11. I filmed this video, the rest of this video on 7-10, okay? I love 7-11. I just always love this date, okay, and those numbers. So I was editing my video, the part where you'll see I talk about, how when truthers are making videos, there's all kinds of interference, no matter what level of truther, big name, little name, doesn't matter. If we're over the target, they're on it. So and then I was starting to have difficulties with the computer, and I just let it sit. I did make a file, and I am sitting here working on my email to the warriors, and I wish them an auspicious 7-11, okay? And then I have never seen wild turkeys, but here in Florida, but a wild turkey and its little baby show up in my yard. I couldn't believe it. And then about 20 to 30 minutes later, I couldn't believe my eyes. There were 12 wild turkeys with babies included in my yard. Wild turkeys are such auspicious signs. I love when I see them. I remember seeing them in Hawaii, and it just was always like perfect timing. But today, honestly, this is so profound. And the number 12 and 2, okay, so Archangel Michael's numerology is 12. my name, he gave me the name Soliel, Mary Soliel 12, and you may know my publishing company 1212. Okay, so it's so profound. So not only that, but after the 12 left, I kind of scared them off. I was trying to get better pictures because you can see raindrops in those pictures through the screen. But I, kind of scared them away. And then another while later, again, the mother and baby. Two, 212, two. And when I see 1212 or 212 or 1202, it's always a message from Archangel Michael. So this is exactly what I'm sharing about, is to just enjoy these signs that are showing us we're watched over. And it's relentless and so beautiful. I wish you so much joy and incredible synchronicities that help you feel the same.